Welcome to the first devotional of my devotional series, which I hope to be writing continually. Wow, I'm really bad at this. Anyway, today we're going to be leading you through Proverbs 1, the first chapter of Proverbs. There's a bunch of wisdom literature, you probably know this. There's Ecclesiastes, there's Job. Proverbs is one of the main wisdom literature books. So without further ado, let's enjoy the book of Proverbs 1. Proverbs 1. When you think of foolishness, what pictures or words or people pop into your mind? Hopefully not me. Perhaps foolishness to you is naivety, that kind of lack of experience which results in actions which are kind of foolish. Perhaps it is ignorance and stupidity. Perhaps it is simple silliness, generally acting like a clown, like a class clown, like your typical bozo the clown. Foolishness in the Bible is a combination of different things. It's a kind of ignorance, stupidity, and naivety from not fearing the Lord and following after Him. Consider verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of... Wow. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Wisdom actually comes in fearing the Lord, but fools are actually said to hate this wisdom. I guess in doing so, they're hating the very attribute of God Himself. Hating God Himself. Realize that each section of Proverbs 1 kind of addresses some different audiences. Verse 1 to 7 kind of address the general audience, the people listening. 18 to 19 address the son. Verse 20 to 33 addresses the fools by using personified wisdom. There seems to be a few goals in giving the people these proverbs. Wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, and it goes on, the list goes on. And maybe underline these if you have the time. It covers everyone by not just addressing simple or the fools or the youth, but also the wise in verses 5 and 6. Let the wise hear and increase in learning. The one who understands obtain guidance. To understand a proverb and a saying. The words of the wise and their riddles. One of the things I take from this book of Proverbs is that it's not just for the fools. It's for the simple and the wise. It's for everyone. It's the general audience listening.
So take note of that. For everyone, for you, for me, for everyone, okay? It's for everyone. Just take it in account. It's for everyone. It's a common thing. You need to take it in account because it's for the general audience and you need to do that.
The receiver of this book of wise sayings is actually Solomon's son. He wants his son to see wisdom as beauty and honor. He says this in verse 9. He gives his son two main negative imperatives, so basically do not kind of commands. If sinners entice you, do not consent. Do not walk in the way with sinners. Pretty clear to Solomon how his son might first be able to travel on the way of wisdom. Simply walk away from the fools. And notice how he not only calls the sinners fools, but he also explains why they are so. Solomon warns his son that they will tell him to ambush the innocent, to harm the disadvantaged, but they will only set an ambush for their lives, and it says this in verse 18. Another thing they say, like Sheol, let us swallow them alive. This is said in verse 12. Basically, let us kill them, but these men lie in wait for their own blood. Whilst they prepare to harm others to the point of death, they only condemn themselves to death. Irony of their words and actions points to their own foolishness.
Oh, let's go kill a guy, but we're going to be killed too, so, let's continue to do it. Fools!
Solomon wants his son to steer clear of such fools. Don't choose to do this. Instead, follow the way of the wise. So the fools, in verse 20 to 33, they're not left out. So what does Solomon say? Technically, it's not even Solomon talking. It's personified wisdom. And in the book, she's actually appealing to all of the people, into the noisy streets where bunches of people are moving around. And she appeals to the scoffer, the simple, those who aren't listening to her because they're too busy doing their own foolish things. There seems to be some main components in her speech. If you look at verse 22, she notes the problem. She states what she'll do if they only would turn to her. And she says this in verse 23. And she states what she will do if they continue in in their foolishness, which no doubt is some sort of judgment upon them. And she states their response to judgment and her response to their cries. This is where things get real. This is where truth comes out. I want you to think real hard about where you've seen this kind of speech before. You know, I will wait here for you. Okay, I'm done waiting. We see it in the gospel narrative. It seems almost parallel with wisdom's words. Wisdom/Jesus calls out to the people. Wisdom/Jesus is rejected by the people. Wisdom/Jesus pronounces judgment on the people. Wisdom/Jesus says, if you don't trust me, if you don't follow me, then you're stuck in judgment. People will answer to the consequences of their own rejection. Now, the only way these people can be rescued, they instead fear the Lord. Now, you're going to hear this phrase throughout the study of Proverbs. It's a very common phrase. As we continue through the book of Proverbs, I really want you to throw away this idea that this book is not for you.
First off, I think you probably know this since the Bible was kind of written for you. If you weren't clear, Proverbs is for you. It's for everyone. We addressed this at the start. I want you to know that this book is for you.
As we continue through the book of Proverbs, I pray that you will grow in your knowledge of this book. And I hope you enjoyed this first video. Let me know in the comments below if you can. And thank you for joining me. #31 days in Proverbs without a drop of ink. I know you love me.